Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And we have a conversation for you today.
That's right. New year brings us new news, right? And with this new year, we're taking a look at brands that we think might be in danger of passing us by.
That's right. It's Deathwatch 2025.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And if you recall from Deathwatch 2024, we were right.
Yeah, we were right. Fisker is no more.
Fisker is no more. They were our top pick for Deathwatch of last year, and they no longer exist.
That's right.
Sorry, Henrik, you're going to have to form another company.
Jeez. Well, another one, a few others are kind of on dangerous waters.
We'll see. We're gonna dive into it here in a minute because there are a few more that are still hanging on by a thread there.
Yeah.
And some that have, as we talked about in a previous podcast, merged to try to save their fate. Nissan. So who does that leave behind, right?
Yeah. Jaguar.
I didn't put them on mine, but they probably should be. With their crazy designs. But
technically, they're gone hiatus for a year, so that doesn't
true.
count.
So
Right?
They're not dead.
They're like zombie mode.
Well, zombie mode or Jesus mode, one or the other. They're going to resurrect after a few. Anyways,
we've been up on Jaguar enough.
Okay. Anyways, Deathwatch. We're going to dive in right now, and I'm going to kick us off with a choice I think that was on Deathwatch last year. So they're still
they're still on Deathwatch.
They're still on the Deathwatch, but you know what? The heart's still beating. So I'm talking about our friends at Mitsubishi.
Oh boy, yes.
So the funny thing is like I went to the website and I checked out what Mitsubishi still sells because I wasn't exactly sure, and so of course they've got. They've got the Outlander.
Okay.
They've got the Eclipse Cross and the Mirage. That's it.
The Mirage is still going.
The Mirage is still going. And the crazy thing is I was like, man.
They're going to kill it. What happened?
I was like, I have not seen any of these vehicles on the road in a long time. I was like, I can't remember the last time I saw any of them on the road. And then literally in the last 24 hours, I've seen both an Outlander and a Mirage.
Wow.
So
you just saw like 10% of their U.S. sales volume.
I did. Literally.
Wow.
10% of their monthly sales volume in one day. Seen by me.
Pretty impressive.
I know, and they're both working too, which is also impressive. So, I mean, Mitsubishi, they're one of the ones that is kind of hanging around on the outskirts of this Honda-Nissan merger. They're trying to see if they should be included or not. And frankly, I really think they need to be. Yeah. This would make so much sense for them to go ahead and get absorbed because they really cannot make it on their own. Like Mitsubishi is a massive company in Japan, but their motors sub-brand has just not done anything for years. And again, we talked about it with Nissan. This is a brand that used to make a lot of really interesting, compelling product. I desperately wanted an Eclipse when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, they were super cool.
And now I would not even take an Eclipse Cross if you gave it to me, probably.
Oh, definitely not. No, do they even rent them? Does Enterprise even take those?
No.
They're like, ooh.
You can have a Tata Nano instead.
Oh, jeez. Wow. That's rough. That's rough.
Or take the Sentra Versa.
Oh,
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, Mitsubishi, stale product.
Yep.
This is what I feel like we keep beating the same drum with these companies that are not doing so well.
No vision.
Stale product, no vision. They really have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
No marketing because they don't have money. I mean, it's tough, right? It's like a negative feedback loop in the sense. I mean, no money, no product, no marketing until nothingness.
It's funny, when you think back, Mitsubishi was competing for pinnacle of youth performance market against Subaru.
Yeah.
A decade ago. It's so weird.
3000 GT is probably more like 2 decades ago because we're old. Because we're old.
Yeah,
but 3000 GT, the Eclipse, GST, right?
Yes,
which was the turbo, the GSX, which was the all-wheel drive one. I mean, who else would make an all-wheel drive coupe?
Yeah.
With a manual and a turbo.
Yeah.
How much fun.
Man,
nobody does it.
I'm just
so angry at what Mitsubishi could have been.
It's true. Maybe. Yeah, I do think that they require this merger, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm just nervous about Honda being
what value do you bring?
Exactly.
Because I mean, again,
I've already got Nissan that I'm having to deal with here.
Oh, I guess the one thing maybe is like the plug-in hybrid EV.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they do have a
again,
great
it's
product
not
there.
bad with
Sure.
the Outlander,
Yeah.
but I feel like that's something that Honda and Nissan can solve on their own.
Probably. Yeah, they probably could. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
Oh, man. Yeah. It will be nice to see Mitsubishi back on their feet, but
it's not going to happen
I can't possibly see that. Yeah.
this year or the next.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right. Well, this is my pick here is one that we've kind of discussed in the past, and I just don't see how it's possible that they're going to get out of this situation, at least in the North American market. And this is another situation where this brand has a following overseas, and it's because they have a very large, diverse portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the States, they sell one car.
I know who you're talking about already
One
because it's
car.
on my list as well.
And it's electric,
Yes.
which narrows down its market.
And it's a
even
city car.
more. And that is Fiat.
Fiat.
Right? And what really stinks about Fiat is like when they came out with that Fiat 500, which was quirky, it was fun. They had a couple more products, but nothing really held place. And it's because Fiat's known for small cars. And small cars just don't work a ton here.
No.
Unless you're like really able to find a foothold. But ultimately, Fiat is damaged brand recognition, right? Fix it again, Tony.
Yeah, it's
never
still to
gonna
this
go
day. I
away.
mean, it's never going to go away. Just they hurt their brand that long ago, and they just have never been able to get out of that shadow.
Yeah, and I just don't see how Stellantis can continue pouring money into Fiat
how
here
much-
in the States.
How much money are they pouring in if they have one car?
Probably true. But still, like, any money at all. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, how many cars could you possibly be planning on selling when you're only selling an electric runabout?
11 a month? Like, I don't know.
It's wild.
How many Fiat dealerships are remaining?
Like, the choices that we're
there
making.
used to be one up in Greensboro where I live, but it closed.
Yeah, there was one here in Charlotte. I think that's close too.
So, like, I mean, where are you even going to get your Fiat? Who's going to fix it, Tony?
No, maybe they'll just like mail it to you in a little shoebox.
Could be. Ooh, it could be like a cool unboxing video.
Yeah, there you go. See, we're rebranding you
Yes,
already.
we are. But the thing that kills me, okay, so again, I went to the website to look,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they've got the 500e and the 500e Armani edition.
Ooh, my name.
And so I have to read this to you
Okay.
because this is hilarious.
You actually spent more time on the Fiat website than most people do.
I did. So, embodying Italian design, style, and craftsmanship, the new Fiat 500e Giorgio Armani Collector's Edition stands out with its
collectors.
unique details, GA logos on the wheels and seats, as well as the Italian fashion designer's signature on the dashboard.
Beautiful.
The interior of the doors and the rear window. Available in two exclusive colors, dark green and ceramic greige. The exterior design
I'm
of
sorry,
the
did you say greige?
greige.
Okay. What is that? What is greige?
Gray and beige.
But what is that? That looks like poopy brown.
No, it looks like the color of an Armani suit, you plebeian. The exterior design of the 500e Giorgio Armani Collector's Edition aims to reduce ornamentation to achieve a more monochromatic effect, despite the GA logos on the wheels and despite the
seats.
signature on the dashboard and all the windows.
That makes. Oh, so they want to reduce the branding of Fiat. Is what I mean. Gotcha.
They're
Okay.
like, oh, look at you in your Armani car. Can you talk about a brand who has lost their way
Oh my gosh.
more?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy an Armani Edition 500e?
No one here.
Nobody. The only person who's going to drive is going to be getting it for free and probably works for Armani.
I mean, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yes, it is a thing. Like, I just...
Armani edition. I've seen other like previous ones when I was looking at them.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was an Armani one.
Armani.
Armani, excuse
Yes.
me.
Like, does it come with a suit? Maybe I'll buy it just for the suit and then return the car. In greige
Great.
to match your car.
I really need to look at what this color looks like
Yeah.
after this. Okay. So there you go, Fiat.
Yeah.
I don't see them lasting much longer.
No. You're going down the tubes. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, well, my next pick is a brand that we've picked on quite a lot. And like Fiat, they only have one product available. Which,
God.
I mean, when you...
It's the American Fiat.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's
sort of.
it's a Stellantis brand,
Right. Yeah,
also,
well, there we go.
but this one is Chrysler. This used to be one of like the most storied, iconic American brands. It is so sad to see what it has become.
Yeah.
You go to any like classic auto show, and you're going to see some of the most like beautiful, ornamental, like wonderful antique cars, and they're going to be Chryslers. You got the old, classic 300s, the Imperials, and just these are just some of the most stunning classic cars that were ever made. And now we have the Pacifica, and that's it.
It's a minivan.
There's nothing else besides Pacifica. And Jordan and I were joking about this right before we started recording the podcast. He was stunned to hear that they don't even have the Voyager anymore.
I know. I thought that
Which was a rebadged Pacifica.
I didn't realize they didn't carry it over for 25. Oh my gosh!
Voyager dead.
Even that they couldn't.
Yeah, no. It is only Pacifica.
Yeah,
Pacifica is all that remains. And what's the point? Why have a standalone brand when you could just call it the Grand Caravan?
Yeah,
That has plenty of brand recognition.
plenty. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They
Grand
started.
Caravan, whoop, into Dodge.
I mean, yeah, I'm shocked that they ever got rid of the Dodge brand in that market.
And, one of the cool products that they had actually under development recently was the Chrysler Airflow EV concept. It was going to be an EV that shared a lot of bits and pieces with that Wagoneer EV for Jeep, and they recently just sent a note out to all of their third-party vendors saying, stop development on this. Don't spend any more money. Because we're going to pull the plug.
Yeah.
So why would you do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that they're probably reassessing their EV strategy, what with the new administration and what with, kind of seeing like adoption rates, right? It's just not as strong as what I think a lot of these manufacturers thought they would be. But when you're like canceling your only product that's really in development,
Yeah.
what does that mean for the brand?
No, you're absolutely right, and I just think about. I've read lots of articles lately on Chrysler. The comments coming from their leadership are almost like arrogantly ignorant of like the actual market conditions. Like, no, we're investing tons of money, and it's a strong brand. There's going to be lots of products coming out. Guys, how can that possibly be true when you're only selling a minivan right now that holds barely any market share anymore compared to its competitor? What's going on? Like, no one believes that. No one's going to go and buy a Chrysler minivan because down the road you might have something nice.
No.
What?
No. And how long has Pacifica been around? It's been around at least a decade, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a decent product. Don't get me wrong, but it's really not going to drive a brand forward into the future. And like, when you think back, even more recently, like obviously Chrysler has a very storied past, but even when you think about like turn of millennium Chrysler, PT Cruiser, I know. Okay, but hear me out. That was a risk. And that was something that put them on the map again. Like, people were talking about Chrysler as like, it's not just like sedans, right? And that had a waiting list. Like, I don't think we are giving them credit for like, they actually drove some market share here with that.
They drove massive market share with it. I mean, we joke about the PT Cruiser, but one of my buddies in college actually had one of the launch edition.
Oh, really?
I forget what they called it, but his parents were one of those like day one like purchasers of it. Probably paid over sticker for a PT Cruiser.
It's crazy.
But I mean, it was, as far as PT Cruisers go, the thing was loaded.
They were hot on them.
Yeah.
But they also produced the Prowler.
Yeah.
This is like, I mean, not under the Chrysler banner, right? But eventually under the Chrysler banner.
Because Plymouth went the way of where Chrysler is going.
But essentially, Chrysler right now is Chrysler Plymouth put together, right?
Yeah.
And now we've killed off the Voyager, so whatever. But it's wild. There's such a mess. It's so sad.
It is so sad to see what has happened. Just years of mismanagement and costs. I mean, that's what Stellantis does, right? I mean, it was private equity, not private equity, but like a firm that goes in and tries to, and, buys things of that nature, and then then ruins it. And that's essentially what has happened. They've ruined Jeep. They've ruined and gutted Chrysler. They've ruined Dodge.
Yeah. What else can they ruin?
Yeah. It's terrible.
Indeed. Well, I hate to continuously beat on Chrysler and Stellantis and the whole group, but I do have one other item of concern. And that is a beloved brand of ours. It's Alfa. Alfa sales have just not gone anywhere. And
And again, we're talking U.S. market only.
U.S. market only, yeah. I mean, but really, when you look at it globally too, like
They're not
really great either. But yeah, here stateside, it is just horrendous sales numbers.
Dude, haven't you seen like a Tenale on every corner?
And that was supposed to be like,
oh yeah, that was supposed to be like the thing that was going to resurrect and help the brand, and so it's like everybody loves small SUVs, right?
No.
Except when they're made by Alfa, apparently.
Apparently so, because Dodge ain't doing so great with their Hornet.
No, the Hornet's terrible too.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate because we love Alphas, but I think they're hampered in part by some past reputation issues, but also mismanagement from Stellantis.
Yeah.
I think that brand would be pretty successful outside of that management.
I think so too. And I mean, again, they still have a steep hill to climb because when people in the United States think, luxury sporty brands, they're going to flock to BMW, they're going to flock to, Mercedes and Audi long before they go to an Alfa, right? Yeah. And, Alfa didn't do themselves any favors with some of their previous, releases with like the Giulia and the Stelvio. Initially, they had some teething issues and were unreliable, right? And so everybody's like, oh, the old tire joke continues, right? Like, unreliable cars, but in a lot of the future versions of them, they actually end up being, as reliable as anything else, generally, right? Like, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I wish them better. I'm not sure that they're going this year, but there's definitely some writing on the wall there. With all the trouble in its parent company, there's probably going to be some shakeup happening, and I can't see a responsible management company saying, "Oh yeah, this is worth the investment."
Right. Because I mean, you're going to need to basically fully redo the Giulia, the Stelvio. That was in the cards, right? Because they were supposed to share a platform, I think, with the Charger.
Yeah, that's been delayed now.
And that's been delayed, pushed back, which is kind of the name of the game for Stellantis right now.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is. It is sad.
Well, that concludes our Death Watch. Let us know in the comments which ones you kind of think would be the most likely to go ahead and go the way of the dodo, or if there's a brand that we missed that's a U.S. market seller that you think is probably going to pass these ones up. There's a possibility. It could be like a Lucid or Rivian. One of them runs out of cash.
Right.
They're both burning it really, really quick, but. Sure. They both make really compelling products, so I'd really hate to see that happen for them.
Yeah, when you're owned by a Saudi equity firm.
More Saudi money. Funny where that came from.
That's probably where that's from, right. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed our episode.
Thank you so much for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on The Driver's Line.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a thing.